Breaking tonight, fresh controversy for the Clinton campaign after reports raised new questions tonight about who may have been influencing Clinton during her time at the State Department. And it appears that her team did not want the public to know about it. Welcome, everybody, to the Kelly File tonight. I'm Martha McCallum, in for Megyn Kelly. So last week, as the world's attention was on the Britain vote to leave the EU, the Associated Press released a bombshell report revealing that Mrs. Clinton had, in fact, had dozens of meetings that were either left off of her official calendar or whose attendees were deleted. This news was only discovered through the pursuit of a lawsuit. By comparing her official calendar to her aides' planning schedules, among those that she was meeting with, Clinton Foundation donors, corporate contributors, campaign operatives, the campaign maintains, though, that nothing is awry here. Quote, if the different schedules refer to simply reflect a more detailed version in one version compared to another. Meanwhile, the State Department has little to say on this matter. Watch.
The State Department maintained and preserved extensive records of Secretary Clinton's calendars, and that's evident from the records provided by the Department to the Associated Press in this case. It's a matter of ongoing litigation, and as such, I'm not going to offer additional details.
So there's that. Let's bring in Fox News senior judicial analyst, Judge Andrew Napolitano. Good to see you again.
There's not much the State Department can say about this one. I almost don't blame him for being so quiet. She is a public official, was a public official, subject to the Public Records Act, which requires that all of her, quote, official acts be recorded. Official acts are one in which she engages the government or to address a problem, or the government engages her. If she met with anybody in that category in those meetings with the names dropped, then she violated the Official Records Act by deleting the names. Now, let's say she met with her hairdresser and she didn't want that name in there. Her obligation is to put it in and then go through a procedure to get it removed, just like she did with the emails.
It's kind of silly, doesn't it? I mean, if it's a personal dinner or a friend meeting, why should she need to disclose that?
Because that's what the statute says. The statute puts the burden on the covered person, which is her as Secretary of State, to make the case for why something should not be there. She enforced that statute against people who worked for her in the State Department, but she didn't enforce it against herself. In her own case, she unilaterally decided what would be removed from the record. So now we don't know. Investigators don't know if she was engaged in, quote, official acts or not.
So here's what her side says. That there were 75 meetings and 114 people who were deleted. They say that she had her official calendar, and then her staff would give her, you know, sort of the short run version of what she was doing that day. And on one had the list of the people that were going to be there, and the other didn't. And one example was when she rang the bell at the New York Stock Exchange. They said she rang the bell at the New York Stock Exchange. They didn't talk about who was at the breakfast prior to that.
Right.
And it included, you know, corporations, CEOs, that kind of thing.
Who would trust her, after all we know about her, to decide with intellectual honesty that her behavior was not covered by the official acts law? Nobody would trust her. The statute doesn't trust her. The federal government says you record everything, and then if you want it kept from the Freedom of Information Act or kept from the historical records, you make the case and others decide.
She obviously knows that trust is a problem for her. Here's what she had to say about it in an appearance that she made today. Watch.
Trust is the glue that holds our democracy together. But it's no secret that Americans' trust in government has eroded. And I personally know I have work to do on this front. A lot of people tell pollsters they don't trust me. Now, I don't like hearing that.
She has a federal judge, Judge Emmett Sullivan, who was appointed by her husband, who doesn't trust her to tell him the truth. She certified under penalty of perjury that she delivered all of her emails to the State Department. This afternoon, 165 emails between her and her aides in the State Department were released that she never delivered to this judge.
Yeah. And in one of them, she talks very specifically about, I'm not really sure how my information is being saved between the State Department and here, and we need to make sure that we know how that's working.
And in another one, her chief aide, Huma Abedin, talks about, you've been hacked, we've got to shut down the Clinton server for a while. That defies her statements that she never was hacked.
Yes, the VIP had to sue to get the information on her personal calendar and compare it to those records, and there is a reason why they wanted that information, and it lays out here. Thank you very much, Judge.
You're welcome.
Good to see you, as always.
Good to see you, Martha.